Welcome to Wargaming Recon's pod. It's been so long, I can't even remember what I'm supposed to say here. Welcome to This is how it is live. Oh my God. You're getting an insight into what it's like when Adrian and I record and there's no one else around. Hi, I'm Jonathan J. Reinhardt from Wargaming Recon. Welcome to today's pandemic coffee break. It is Thursday, June 4th, 2020. Thank you all for being here with me. Oh my goodness, it's a silly morning, isn't it? I am lucky enough to work from home mostly. And just like when I'm at work, I'm taking a coffee break and I'm spending it with you. So I have my beverage right here, which you might not be able to see because of how things are going. There you go, sort of. And I hope you have your favorite beverage with you. If you're watching us, whether live or after the words, please drop a comment below to let me know that you're here and what you think about the show and just to kind of interact with us. So it's been a long time since I've done a pandemic coffee break. I believe it was last Thursday, one whole week ago, where I said to you, okay, maybe it was last Friday, actually. I said, okay, no, it was last Thursday because things happen on Friday. I said, okay, so we'll see you next week. Remember, Monday, we're not going to do a show, and we'll be back on Tuesday. And then all sorts of terrible things have happened in the world since I said those things, and life has just turned upside down for all sorts of people. I went back to work on Monday. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. And Tuesday and yesterday, Wednesday, were just absolutely ridiculous kind of days. And so there's no show. And I apologize for that, but I hope you understand. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But we're here today. I'm happy we're here with you. And I am sorry for letting you all down. Those of you who look forward to this, I know there are a number of you who like to have this part of your routine during this crazy pandemic, even though a lot of places are lessening and opening up things, that this is something that we have going on and that we are doing. So today we're going to talk about a bunch of different things here. And I actually want to start with, I don't know. Let's start with a little show and tell. So in the past, I've shown some things that I collect, and I wanted to share a love of mine here. And so one of my loves, as many of you might know, is Star Wars. And so I collect Star Wars action figures. And this is a Rancor Keeper with his hat, his headpiece, and his weapon right here. It's something I got on eBay a while ago. So every so often I look for lots of Star Wars action figures to get and display. So this might be known as Best to You in Jabba's Palace. He tortured droids and had a lot of fun doing it. I have... Oh, this is a nice one to share as well. I have Emperor Palpatine with his walking stick to make him look like an old man. And so I have a bunch of these kind of things, actually. And some of these are ones that I've, like I said, I've gotten on eBay. And some are ones that I've had, not from this pile, but that I've had from when I was a kid and I've kept. Like many of us who were kids, and when we got them, we didn't play. They were well used, I guess is what I should say. So maybe the weapons are missing and accessories are gone. So I look from time to time online in collecting groups and things like that for the accessories, so I can try to piece together stuff that may have been missing from my childhood and to kind of have. And I really feel like those of us who grew up in the 80s or who played with toys from the 80s had some of the best toys around. Like it was like a prime time for toys. And I'm just looking, I have some R2-D2s that aren't in the best of condition, but they're pretty cool as well, just to kind of have R2-D2. So that's just a small collection. I have like multiple Rancors. I have, oh geez, I think I have Luke Skywalker. I have Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have several Jawas with the cloth capes, which are pretty cool. And you can go absolutely crazy on collecting action figures and all this kind of stuff. And just life can be a little nuts, actually, with it. And people can spend gigantic bucks for stuff. On Netflix, there's a documentary that I would highly recommend called The Toys That Made Us. And they have one whole episode on Star Wars, and they have others on like Masters of the Universe, which I remember, and G.I. Joe, and like they go on and on My Little Pony and all this kind of stuff, which is fantastic and amazing. Hot Wheels, Matchbox, which we really have interested people because of Gaslands, of course. But it's really cool kind of stuff like that. And I like collecting all that kind of stuff. I've talked about having Transformers and things like that. So I thought I would take a moment to just kind of share all that with those of you. And let's go to the comments to see who's here and say hello to everyone. Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Dave. Thank you. I am glad to be back as well. And good morning, Alamaro. I'm happy that you're here with us. Now, you might notice the video is doing a little weird thing, and that's because I'm trying out something new here to just kind of see how it goes. Mostly for when I'm out on the road, but also for times when I don't have enough time to set up a green screen. So I'm trying a virtual green screen here. It's from a company that makes something called ChromaCam. So if any of you are doing streaming, this might actually be of interest to you. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see what the product is. I make no money from this, but if you're interested in it. So this works on Mac. It works on Windows. There's some other ones. VTech, I think, makes something that's only for Windows that a lot of streamers use. But ChromaCam works on everything. So like if you're doing a lot of Zoom meetings, and I know Zoom has built-in functionality if your computer can handle it. But if you're doing a lot of Zoom meetings or Microsoft Teams or GoToMeetings for work or whatever, you can use this and have virtual backgrounds in. You can also use it if you're going to be streaming games, doing your own shows or whatever. So you can see here that it talks about all the different stuff that you can do. Who likes it right here, Wall Street Journal, PC World, TechCrunch, so forth. And then how it looks. Yeah, people can do for streamers. You can add effects. You can blur your background, add custom images and logos, PowerPoint slides, and all that kind of stuff. And it scrolled a little fast, but it shows right here who some of the people it works with. It works with more, or XSplit. I think that's the one I was thinking of. Not VTech. VTech makes kids' toys. And you can get it for free with some basic stuff going on, which I tried and I liked. And it worked. So then I paid and I got, this is great. It's a lifetime. So this right here is what I'm using, ChromaCam lifetime. And that's pretty awesome as well. And so they just got all sorts of cool options right there that if you are interested in, you can go ahead and you can get and use, and it might be of use to you. Now, it unfortunately does do this little weird thing right here where it's cutting out stuff. So like my right hand, here you can see, but my left, not so much. So it does some of that. It kind of depends on your processor and all that sort of stuff, how powerful your computer is. But it's something to consider and to look at if that's something that you want. Now, I thought I'd share with you a YouTube video that might be really of interest to a lot of you crafters. And I'm not going to share the whole thing, but I do want to just share a portion of it with you. And it's how to make a mold and how to use the mold to cast foam props. So right here, this is another one from the people at Tested. Right here, let's make it nice and big so you can all see.
Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested.
And Frank from Tested.
Frank, it's been a while since we've done a project in the shop for everyone, and I thought it'd be fun to revisit some simple dump molds.
Yeah, I have been wanting to recreate some of these old tools from my dad's toolbox for a while. They just have a lot of flavor to them, and they're nice and worn, and these will be really fun to paint. So I think we should make these.
Yeah, and maybe one way to make molds.
So one thing I think is really interesting here, I'm just fast forwarding for all of you. He has this piece of wood, which you might be able to see at the bottom. And so that's going to be the base of the mold. And he says later on in the video that you can make the entire mold out of wood. They're going to use a self-skinning foam, basically, to actually make the to actually cast the prop weapons, prop tools. But they're using like a polyurethane rubber foam kind of thing to actually make the mold itself. And that can, when it expands, it can actually cause things to bow out. and distort your mold. So you could do the whole thing in wood. Of course, it costs more time. It'd be cost more money too. But to have this base is really nice. And he's going to glue these items to the base, which at first I was like, why is he going to glue them? You're never going to get them off. But it's really fascinating that he glues them, they stay, and they come off really well. He uses a super glue. But here, and we'll see for a moment, he cleans the whole, he cleaned the whole surface, and look, he put some glue down.
Right, and you're also looking
and then
at
he does a whole circle of
shape
hot glue.
Molding here, it's top heavy. We're talking about these tools like a hammer, and you're also about where the open
down there to kind of give it a wider base and kind of grab it a little bit more. On the
And
hammer,
right
it's
here,
it's easier.
I'm just going to pause him for a sec. He's using foam core. He's using foam board to go around as a quick and easy kind of thing to make it. And you can see right here, this part's really neat.
Support.
So he's gluing it to the base.
As not really a pour spout, but
and then
like
he's using duct tape. Duct tape's wonderful, isn't it? To kind of help seal up the corners. He just took a single piece
and you want to
of
keep these
foam
objects as
and scored it.
stable and as level as possible.
Yes.
And then from the toy making industry, because he worked for McFarlane Toys, he learned you put pins in. And there's going to be a shot here that shows the pinheads are just barely touching the object, but it's enough to keep it stabilized. So I thought this was really kind of fascinating for those of you who might want to be making molds for your own terrain, maybe, or maybe you're doing LARPs or whatever, that you can use this kind of setup here. And then he kind of goes further on. We'll see here. He's applying, this is basically like the stuff like if you were to get a cast, what they might put around it. And then he's pouring in the mold mixture here. And what might be fascinating is to see here, he talks about, let me move a little bit further up, about how you cut the mold. And this is something that I believe they do in making molds for the minis that we all buy.
Molds, make them nice and pretty.
Yeah, part of that is also when you have those rigid walls, that's why you want the flat sides, flat edges for storing and for casting. Just want a big block.
Makes it easy when it's just a block.
Okay, cleaned up molds. I can see on the bottom, that's the base of the hammer.
Here. Sorry.
So that way, when
you see, he does this zigzag cut,
some kind of registration, so that it doesn't misalign.
Where if you were creating a two-part mold, you have to build in the registration with divots as you're making each half.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I know that, the hammer handle, like I have a bunch of room on either side, so I make real big cuts. I've seen a lot of people will just cut it straight in half, and that's fine. You can get a piece out, but it'll start to misalign if there's no registration.
Now, ideally, do you want as small cut as possible? I know the shape of the hammer is irregular. You have a big top, but if it was something like what we did earlier, like the lightsaber or something, where it's just more cylindrical, then would you need to not cut it in half? Just to pull it out?
You can't pull it out because there's ridges on the lightsaber.
And then just to kind of show you the finished piece up ahead.
Because you can tell fidelity, even this little imprint on the hammer made it. And when we're talking about a self-skinning foam, it doesn't even look porous. Yeah, and any of this texture detail.
And then he goes on, of course, to paint it and everything like that. So I just think it's a fascinating video. And I think it has a lot. Obviously, it's for prop items or TV or movies or whatever. But I think it can be also of use to those of us in the hobby. I just dropped a link to the video in the comments for those of you who would like to see that as well. And at this point, I'd like to kind of move gears and talk about a Kickstarter that I think you might be interested in if you have not already backed it. And this is the Kickstarter from Things to the Basement for their farms at Gettysburg. You can see it's already funded in the first 24 hours. Right now they're at $5,200 raised, 24 days to go, 28 backers. They have a little video here. So if you are interested in backing it, it's a done deal. It's going to happen. Yorgs already has all the stuff ready. We've talked about it. And there's different backer levels here. One thing to be aware of if you back it is that he put the rewards up and then people had backed, and someone had realized that for continental US, the shipping made it like ridiculous, and it's because the shipping is supposed to be included. So you want to make sure that you back it at a level where it says, it should say fixed, I believe. And here we go, corrected. So right here, little round top, 28 mil. It says little round top, 28 mil corrected. So you pledge $85 or more. You get the slider house kit, slider burn kit. Domestic shipping is included only for the US. And then if you're in Canada, it's an extra 20. Anywhere else, you add 30. And so you can get stuff like that. And you can see people what they backed for and everything. And there's pictures, and he just kind of goes into all that kind of stuff. Assembly instructions, detailed instructions where you can get them. And you can do 15 mil, you can do 28 mil. There's all sorts of just beautiful pieces here that are just really nice. He goes into some of the history about some of the places as well. And there's all sorts of stuff available there. Pretty picket fences and split rail fences. Just beautiful pieces. And then some of the 15 mil stuff. So no matter what you want or need, there are things here that can fit your uses. Like I said, there's all sorts of different pledge levels. There's 8 fixed ones that you only get what's in the description. And then there's a mix and match option where you just kind of pick whatever kits you want. And you do all that sort of stuff. And there's details for that, details about shipping, and just all sorts of stuff. Jorg's an amazing person. He does fantastic work. It's not his first rodeo doing a Kickstarter. Everything's just really awesome. You can see there's a bunch of comments here as well. And people are talking about stuff and what they're getting and all that kind of thing. So I think you should check out the Farms Gettysburg Kickstarter. And I'm going to drop a link to that as well in case any of you are interested in backing it. Maybe you've already done so. But it's pretty cool stuff right there. I'd also like to take a moment to show you another, or a portion of anyway, a trailer for a TV series I'm watching on Netflix. I think there's 3 or 4 seasons of it right now about the Medicis of Florence. Each season focuses on a different generation of the Medicis. And I'm on season 1. I'm almost done with season 1, where it talks about Cosimo and his father and the construction of the Duomo and just all sorts of stuff about Florence at that time and space. And it's really engaging and interesting. I do have to warn you, there's violence, there's some nudity. So it's not one to watch with the children. Or if you have sensitivities to such things, please do not watch such a thing. But I just thought I'd just show you a little bit of this in case you haven't seen any of this. If you're not aware, if you have Netflix, check it out.
The world is changing, Cosimo. And Florence must seize its place.
I don't want to be a banker, you know that.
We don't have a choice. A wise man lives with a purpose. A foolish man lives for himself.
Not bad.
Not as good as me, of course, but not bad.
You're an artist. I'm called Donatello. Messer Medici. Medici.
A banker who wants to be an artist.
Will I see you again?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Your son Cosimo is in love.
With whom?
A peasant.
A man must live his own life. I gave you life, and I will instruct you on what you do with it. Or so help me. I will take away the life that God gave you.
You sent her away.
Of course I did. One day, when I'm gone, you will be head of the Medici family, and you must lead us. You are to lead the most powerful bank in all of Europe. This family needs.
I'm going to leave that there because the trailer goes on for like another 5 minutes or so. It's really fascinating. It's very interesting. Meet a lot of people who are historical figures that maybe some of us know about and some of us don't. I will say that I was talking with Adrian about this and I was recommending it to him. And he said it actually popped up on his Netflix, like suggested or recommended, whatever they call it, to watch. And he was telling me a bit about a time when he went to Florence with his wife. And he said that going to Florence and seeing the Duomo was probably the only time in his life that he felt just in awe of a place that he's been and the size and the beauty of it. Of course, everyone knows about the bronze doors. The Duomo was the largest a dome in the world of that type, brick dome, and just absolutely beautiful. But the story behind its building is a fantastic story of Venice, the banking, and just kind of all of the political intrigue there. Is really fascinating for any of us who are into things like, I don't know, Warhammer, for example. There's a lot of that kind of comes into play because, of course, Warhammer Fantasy is based off medieval Europe and Renaissance Europe. So you have a lot of that going on, but you could do it for just about anything else. And it just is really interesting, I think. Very well done. I would highly recommend as well. And so I've been trying to spend some time doing that and just kind of taking a break from stuff. I had mentioned at the top of the show that I was going to talk a little bit about my absence from here and things. So I realized with all the stuff kind of going on in the world and with going back to work in person, I wasn't feeling things. I was feeling a little out of sorts and I needed some time for me. So it was nice being at work to see people, but like the whole process of actually getting there was a little nerve-wracking. And it was harder than I thought it was going to be. And so unbeknownst to myself, I've kind of been just doing the minimal in life and just trying to get by and focus on what needs to be done. And then taking the rest of the time for myself. And I was thinking about this because several other people had reached out to me and talked about kind of basically the same sort of stuff, that they feel like they're in funks and everything. And I was thinking how nice it would be if we could all think, and you might roll your eyes and that's okay, but if we could all spend a little bit more time thinking about Fred Rogers. And I know that might seem like an odd thing to talk about on here, but Fred Rogers, who is known to many generations of people from his work on television as Mr. Rogers on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, really has made a strong impact in my life. And I often, like as a kid, of course, it made a huge impact. I didn't get to watch a lot of television as a young child. I would see things like Reading Rainbow and Sesame Street, but Mr. Rogers was really probably the standout for me. And his messages of love and compassion and kindness and treating people equally and fairly, really trying to put ourselves in the shoes of other people, knowing that we're not alone, that we all have our struggles in life and that it's okay, and that we need to support one another, and also that each of us matters and how much we matter, that we should value ourselves and love ourselves. And I know that for some people that's a little hokey, and some parts of the world that feels like there's a whole group of people who are just self-indulgent. And yet at the same point, I mean, I understand what is being said about those criticisms, but for a lot of people, I think they've never been told that it's okay to like themselves, to love themselves. They've never been told that they're valuable, that they matter. And that can be world changing for some people. And I think now with all the stuff that's going on, and as more of us are transitioning to going back to work, hopefully, and any anxieties and fears we may have about that or whatever else is happening, I think it's really kind of helpful for us to kind of go back to a core place of saying that I'm okay, that we're okay, that it's good to care about one another. It's good to care about ourselves. And I've kind of translated a lot of what Mr. Rogers has taught, or what I remember from his teaching, just in everyday life. People at work will kind of smile when I share Mr. Rogerism, and I use it with my kids all the time about his life lessons. And we sing songs. They love Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, which is like the thing for the new generation, all animated. But we go back to the originals. And when you look back, his earliest episodes dealt with things like the assassination of Bobby Kennedy, with war. He talked about divorce. He talked about all sorts of really tough subject matters. And he didn't really, he made it so kids could understand, but he didn't whitewash stuff. He didn't just lie and say things are going to be okay when things might not be. But he helped to kind of reassure people. And I know for me, that's been really valuable. And I think maybe for some of us who are out there in our communities and the gaming community, we have also had this whole turmoil because we aren't able to get out to play games with the people that we know and like. We aren't able to get to conventions or to events. Maybe we're not able to get our hands on gaming products. Maybe we're not able to get our hands on hobby supplies and things. Maybe we don't have the time to do it, or maybe we don't feel that we can do it because we're so stressed out by everything else, or maybe we're working extra hours because we're on the front lines, and maybe everyone else at work is sick, or maybe we're just worrying because we don't have any money coming in because we're furloughed or we're out of work. And that can all kind of mean that our whole system is disrupted and that we don't have these kind of hobby fallbacks that maybe have been tools in our belt that kind of just help us to get through life. And so I think it's okay to feel those things and also to be mindful of the fact that it's going to pass and that we can get through this. And so that's why one of the things that had made me feel really bad about not doing the coffee breaks is that I know there are some of you who watch and who are participate who view this almost as a therapy session, I guess. I hate to call it that because I'm not a therapist by any stretch, but that this is a chance where you can kind of decompress and you can just be here and not think about any of the other stuff in life. And so that's something that I really want to make sure that we're here for. I say it all the time, this is the year of mental health for Wargaming Recon. It's something that we're focusing strongly on. We talk a lot about, and I think that's really important. But one thing that people may not know, I was actually talking with someone recently who's going through some tough times. And they had the suggestion actually that maybe you should do like a gaming confessional or something episode of the show where or just kind of offer it as a service, I guess, maybe for gamers to kind of just come and talk about things that are bothering them and that they struggle with. And I shared with this person that kind of informally and completely privately, there are people across the globe who I know and have gotten to know from doing the show and from all of this kind of stuff, that we keep in touch with one another, almost kind of like an informal support group where we share things in our lives that are stressful or that are going good. For those of you in business, it might be kind of like a mastermind group, I guess you could say. And we just kind of check in and make sure that everyone's doing well and cheer each other on and offer encouragement. And you might be surprised how many people do that sort of stuff in your communities. And then if you don't think that exists, maybe that's something that you might want to start as well. And so I'm not saying no to offer gaming confessionals for people. I'm not sure what that exactly would look like, to be honest. But I think there's many ways that we can all kind of help one another. And I think that it's important. I know with me, in my own journey, one of the things that I have come to know as a truth for me is that I will do anything and everything for everyone else, even to the point where it harms myself. And so I've tried to transition to making sure that I'm available to people, but also that I'm in a good space first. So that's one of the things that I had done over the past few days with why there was no coffee break. I was taking time for me. And as difficult as that is for me, it's okay. And it's okay for all of you too. I know some of you may not get a chance to watch as much as you want. And maybe you feel bad about that, but that's okay. Take time for yourself. I do want to share one really cool thing that actually happened recently. I got to play a game of Cube of Death with my buddy Jamie over in Norway. So we were talking one day about how both as gamer dads that we focus so much on our families and put our families first that we don't just in general take a whole lot of time for ourselves. And we definitely don't really take time to game. And so we both talk about how we don't really play games anymore. And so we decided we're going to hold each other accountable for that sort of stuff and also try to use ways to game with one another. And so he and I were texting and we're like, hey, when are you available? You want to play a game? And so we got on FaceTime. I had my Cube of Death handy, or what I have of it, and we played Cube of Death. And I don't think we played it correctly completely, but we had fun. And so that was like an hour and a half where we just had fun and doing it. And it was informal and cathartic, and it was great. And in that light, I can say that for those of you who are participated in the Let's Roll virtual tabletop gaming convention, that I believe it's going to be happening again this fall. I don't have further details just yet, but I believe that is going to be happening there. And that's something that you might be interested in. And as we know more, we'll keep you abreast of it. And then finally, just before I close out, I need to shamelessly plug some stuff to help keep us on the air and bring money in. So I hope you will forgive me for that. But that's something that we need to do. So I want to remind all of you, we have merch you can get. So I'll drop the link here in the comments, all of you. So we have some really cool things right here. You can get a duffel bag. It's at $20. It's black. Comes with the Wargaming Recon logo on it. It's very spacious. It has a zippered pocket inside, so you can kind of keep some essential things, money, your license or whatever, ID, and it fits 30 liters worth of stuff. So it just fits a lot of stuff. It has a shoulder strap. It's cotton canvas. It's just really cool. And we can ship it right now currently to the US, Netherlands, Norway, and UK. If you live in another country, please get in touch with me, Jonathan@wargamingrecon.com, and we'll see what we can do. We have polo shirts now in men's sizes, small to 5XL. And these are 50/50 cotton polyester. And again, it's black with that logo on it, which is really cool. Those are 30 plus shipping. We have our standard black t-shirt for unisex or men's, small to 3XL. They're $15 plus shipping to Australia, US, Netherlands, Norway, UK. So you can get cool stuff. And then we have a women's black t-shirt as well, sizes small to 2XL for $19 plus shipping. So check that out at wargamingrecon.com/bigcartel and get that. And we have a happy customer. Jamie says, I'm very happy with my bag. I'm looking forward to seeing photos of you toting that duffel bag around. And I'm jealous. You got the very first one. And I need to get one myself because thinking how handy that would be. So we have some cool merch here. I hope you will check it out and get it. It's one way that you can help support us here at Wargaming Recon as we do all the things that we do. So otherwise, I should probably pop this up to remind you where you can get our merch. And I am anticipating to be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another pandemic coffee break. And then not on Monday of next week. But we'll be, I hope, doing our usual Tuesday to Friday schedule. And of course, please remember, no matter what, don't trust Karen on Facebook. She tells lies. She's wrong. Do not listen to her. Listen to the experts, the doctors, scientists, medical professionals, all the people who actually know what they're talking about in life, not to Karen on Facebook. Please be kind and good to yourself and to others. Good enough is good. We will get through this, I promise you. And until next time, you know the drill. No matter how busy you are, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter how much time you're thinking, dang, I am so mad Jonathan didn't do the coffee break Tuesday and Wednesday this week. You know that you need to, you have to keep on gaming. Thanks, everyone. Be well.